Hey guys, Tarke here, and we're going to be doing a Trapper update, and we're going to be doing an inscribed ultimatum sacrifice, see if we get an exalt. Before we do that quickly, just quickly want to say, people have been getting weirdly precious about my appearance recently. My hair's gotten long, and I haven't shaved since League launch. It's not that deep, I'm not hanging out in car parks shooting up, you know, it's fine. And honestly, I think it's a bit weird that people care that much about some random 20-year-old dude. Like, I know, it's a bit weird to me, but anyway. Gameplay, a mega lol. So let's see how this goes. I've been really enjoying it. We managed to get our Ubab eventually. Which one is this? This is just a not stand in the things. I didn't actually look at what any of the mods were. So I guess we just don't stand in the things. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. Probably should have actually looked at what the mods were. I got distracted by my random rant. It also doesn't help that I'm balancing my phone on top of my monitor. So I can't actually see like the top 3 inches of the screen. So hopefully there's nothing dangerous in the top middle of my screen. But assuming that there isn't, it looks like we might be alright. But yeah, the age-old tactic of don't stand still and everything will be fine. Lightning Trap's been really good for the League mechanic. I've been liking it a lot. As you can see, it's got great coverage, which is pretty satisfying. I also just realized that I'm on display capture, not game capture, so this might be really laggy. So if it is potato quality, I apologize. I should have fixed that. Whoops. But yeah, we're actually fairly tanky as well, considering we're sub 5k life. Level 89, and it's acro, phase acro, evade capped, which is very nice, especially when it comes to like rune modifiers. We basically just get to completely ignore those. My health dipped a bit there. And then endurance charges, etc, etc. 2 times exalts. Headhunter, Pog. Yeah, so I guess I will tell you about the build, show off my gear and whatever. And, So, what is Tarke wearing? He is wearing, we found this dropped earlier. This is a really nice weapon for SSF. It may not seem that fancy, but it is 57% damage with this spell, lightning damage combined. Tier 2 flat call to spells, spell crit, then +1 to all lightning skill gems, and the actual 17 strength is really useful because I have exactly 155 strength, which I need for some of my gems. My other weapon is a lesser spell damage, but good lightning dash spells roll with spell crit. Nice. Hat is pretty decent. Good life roll, double res, with a little bit of evasion, scaling, and a little bit of int. I don't think I actually need the 155 int, but it's whatever. With a spell damage, life, a little bit of resist amulet. Obviously, I would ideally want a plus lightning gem crit multi-ammy, but that's a way off. This ring's pretty solid. It is tier 1 life on a coral ring, so it's 106 life ring with a tiny bit of res and chaos res, and because I don't need more res, I just crafted some flat damage on it. The ambus that just drop for us, I'll go over my links and stuff later. This is actually really nice as well. A little bit of strength, which again we need. A solid 20% lightning damage, tier 1 life, and a good resist roll. Then again, we just crafted flat damage on here. A little bit of evasion scaling, 74 life, and then very respectable triple res. Really happy with these gloves. Probably won't be able to replace these gloves until I either get the incursion gloves or I find the fire just went out, didn't it? I think it's just struggling. Or until we find a really nice pair of shaper gloves. I'm going to try and salvage the fire. One sec. But yeah, so considering like SSF stuff, and I'm just going to throw a bunch of cardboard on it. Let's see if that works. When in doubt, add fuel to the fire. But yeah, considering we're an SF, I actually managed to collect a pretty nice amount of gear, and I haven't even really been pushing the Atlas either. I've mostly been setting up side content. Delve, I've been doing a lot of heisting, getting all my rogues up to max level. There's a lot of quite nice replica uniques I'd like to get my hands on. But yeah, we're just kind of filling all the side content in. I kind of like this setup period of the league. It's quite satisfying. Again, really solid belt. Good life roll, a little bit of res, a little bit of chaos res especially. Then we just crafted Ideally, we'd want to craft using Essence of Zeal, which gives trap throwing speed. And you can craft from the bench trap throwing speed on top of the Essence trap throwing speed mod. And it is very tasty when you stack them together. You can see belt trap throwing speed. So also gives trap and mine, which is nice if you're using smoke mine, but I'm not. And then a pair of it zero step. We finally got our hands on a pair. Haven't got a good boot enchant on it yet. We need to spam more lab. There are 2 enchants I would want. Either 160 flat lightning damage to spells if you haven't killed recently, or 120 crit chance if you haven't crit recently. We don't cast anything. We only use traps because of the Raider global exposure. We don't need to worry about having any wave of conviction stuff. We don't need to worry about having any trigger weapons. It's another reason why I think Raider is actually really strong for this setup, which I really like. So it means that boot enchants, whichever boot enchant you go for, you will have 100% uptime on it. We've changed the skill tree a fair bit. This isn't by any means a final skill tree. This is just, I realized there's no point me going for the Sound Life, which is more like an end game focused skill tree, considering most of what I'm doing is farming easy-ish content. Fire's dying again, but oh well. So I was like, let's just go all in, have a very tight core skill tree, get as much damage and as much movement and dodge and everything as I can. We picked up freedom of movement, which I actually quite like for 3 points. So for 3 points, it's 54, I believe. Yeah, 54% increased evasion rating, 5% dodge, and we're always phasing, so 5% dodge and 10% movement speed. That's pretty respectable. And then, yeah, life gives us some stats, gives us a little bit of mana regen, which means that for the tiny bit of mana that we have got unreserved, we can spam through our utility skills fine, and we don't so that's no worries there. So I guess I should probably go through my links now. So these links aren't ideal. I would ideally want 3 green, 2 blue, 1 red. Yay, the fire saved itself. But I didn't want to throw loads of chromatics into a chest piece that I'd be replacing. So we're running lightning trap. This is what I would drop. I'd drop the added lightning damage for trap and mine. Cluster traps, charge traps, lightning penetration, and life tap. Life tap is crucial. Life tap, as I said before leak start, is the sleeper support gem. Really great. We run life tap on both our lightning trap and our lightning spire trap, and that lets us completely ignore having any mana concerns. We just leave a teeny bit of mana unreserved, which is just enough to proc arcane surge and use utility gems on. I'm running lightning spire trap and a 4-link of lightning spire trap, lightning pen, Ellie focus, and then life tap support. If I had the blood magic gloves, obviously I'd drop the 2 life tap support gems. I'd run inspiration in the chest, and for this I would run either trap and mine damage, advanced traps, increased AoE, or yeah. In the helm, I've got skitterbots, a level 2 enlighten, vitality, and a flesh and stone. This isn't the ideal setup, but if you only have a low level enlighten or no enlighten at all, I would recommend skitterbots, flesh and stone, and as high of a vitality as you can fit, while still leaving just enough mana unreserved for your utility setup. Ideally, we would get either a level 4 enlighten, which would let us run max level vitality, wrath, skitterbots, or I'd get reduced reservation helm enchants, or some form of getting just a little bit of mana reservation, so you can fit that package in there. Here we're running, this is just like our random like fluff stuff. We have a sniper's mark, a bear trap, and a advanced trap support. Here we have enduring cry, second wind, and urgent orders. I like having it. It's very easy to just pop enduring cries, as you saw there in the middle of big packed things. Gives you bursts of regen, which is always very nice. Gives you endurance charges, which is very good on evasion-based characters. And then finally, dash, second wind, arcane surge, and steel skin, bound to left click. You'll notice I'm using a Val skill. So because of my gearing, we're currently sat on 60 dodge, 61 spell dodge. I'm umming and ahhing about how I want to cap my spell dodge. A alchemist quartz flask would give me 13%. I haven't got quite enough increased flask effect. With flask effect on belt and this node, I think I can push it to be just enough that I would actually cap out with the flask up. So that's one option. Another option is using a rare chess piece. You can cap out dodge and spell dodge through rare chess piece. You get, I believe it's 14% spell dodge is the new unveil. And like if you unveil a rare chess piece, you get 14 spell dodge. And then you could benchcraft spell dodge on top of that. There's a few different ways of doing it. I want to cap it out, though. I want to have 75-75. I just haven't quite worked out exactly how I want to do that yet. I'm still not entirely sure which chess piece I would like to use yet. On the topic of that, I've had a few people ask me, like, what chess piece should I be running? Should I be using Tinkerskin? How good is Tinkerskin? Tinkerskin is a decent option if you're planning on doing stuff with Eldritch Battery. Eldritch Battery is basically... There are 3 ways of playing... Okay, there are 4 ways of playing traps, in my opinion. You either do Life Tap / Blood Magic gloves. You go Eldritch Battery. You go Mind Over Matter. Or you then end up just like having to make do running a Clarity and having some mana regen on Git. And you just try and get your trap cost down as low as possible by running the Inspiration Support Gem and being a Saboteur. For non-Saboteurs, because we don't have that reduced trap mana cost, and traps are quite expensive, I feel like you want to be either Life Tap / Blood Magic gamers, or Eldritch Battery gamers, unless you're doing Cloak of Defiance, Mind Over Matter, which is an option. Like, if I got a Cloak of Defiance drop for me, I would probably do a Cloak of Defiance Mind Over Matter build, where we just get all the really tasty mana nodes over here. I'd probably skedaddle over to Sartan Life, get these mana nodes, and then because I have Cloak, I would need to come up this way, and I would just like stay in this sort of part of the skill tree. But yeah, you could use a Tinkerskin. It's not amazing. It's good with Eldritch Battery. If you're not Eldritch Battery, I don't like it that much. If one dropped for me 6-link, I would replace the Ambues with it. If one just dropped for me, I wouldn't waste fusings on it. One thing which does make it slightly more attractive is if you are using a cooldown-based trap, and you know it's actually invested into Hasty Reconstruction. For 3 points, it is 44. Yeah, 44 trap damage, 15 cooldown recovery, and +1. Which, if you're actually going to bother setting up a Lightning Spire trap, I would recommend it on Raider, since we do have so much cast speed that the Lightning Spire trap actually feels really good. So let's get into some skill tree options. And again, I'm not like super committed to Lightning Trap. I'm pretty open to experimenting with Lightning Trap, Explosive Trap, Ice Trap. I was actually planning originally on doing Ice Trap, but we've just had good Lightning Trap gear drop. I'm SSF, so I basically just need to like feel it out. If you're going for this super condensed tree, which is just like this is obviously much more softcore oriented, or I'm just power farming low tier content, which is what I'm currently doing, perfectly fine. In hardcore, if you're power farming low tier content, perfectly fine. I wouldn't take this tree into red maps in hardcore, though, because you're kind of just asking to get slapped about. That being said, this is a deceptively tanky build once you get the evade cap, dodge cap, and then Wind Dancer stuff. Wind Dancer Kintsugi is an amazing combo. If you would just be like, quick, Tarke, unique, that's good for this build, I'd be like, Kintsugi, you do that, you feel good. Like, you'll feel really, really good. For people saying, what about pain attunement stuff, forcing low life, going Petrified Blood? If you're going through that, Kintsugi is the way to go, because Petrified Blood, obviously, it halves your health pool. So Kintsugi plus Wind Dancer gives you one-shot protection, and they protect you against dots, which is the weakness of low-life builds. They're weak against dots if you're doing the whole life-based low-life. This is what my current like focus tree would look like for Lightning Trap. This is how I would do it for Ice Trap. Basically the same tree, but I would get rid of the projectile base nodes, and I would get the good cold damage nodes. I leveled as what's the skill? Corsair Carrier. Oh god, Tarke, if you know what Corsair Carrier is, that is bad. Yeah, we leveled as Corsair Carrier. Very strong, always recommend it. You can level as Raider if you haven't played this build yet and you want to play it. A few of my viewers went straight into just like Raider off the bat. It is a bit smoother to level as something else though. I just would recommend it. If you're doing Ice Trap, you can kind of do something a bit wonky. It looks kind of cool here, and I'll explain it. So basically for Ice Trap, you want to get all the increased like chill effect and freeze effects. Also, you want to grab these. So you're getting the really like big beefy freeze durations. You can freeze every boss in the game except for the ones which are immune to freeze with like barely any gear and SSF. And if you had a tree like this with Elemental Focus, Fingers of Frost, and flash freeze, you'd be getting very satisfying freezes. The reason why you do this wonky little routing here is a 20 crit node isn't that strong. This trap throwing speed node is very important. And if you weren't doing it like that, it would then be something kind of like that, or like that, or the other way around. And yeah, I would just rather have 14 damage than 20 spell crits. That's why you do it like that. For the more hardcore oriented tree, this is also a tree which is better suited to something like explosive trap. This is also what my end game tree would most likely look like. Unless, one thing which is just worth saying about these trees are very good for just slapping a like medium into a small cluster jewel on and just being like, whatever, that'll do. But for the tankier version of the tree, this is probably what my end setup will look like, depending on cluster jewels, what other gear drops, and so on and so forth. Will look something sort of like this. If you're wondering why I invest into frenzy charges, it's because I run charge traps on my main setup. Charge traps give a lot of trap throwing speed, which is very nice. For anoints in this build, it depends on which trap you're using, but I would be very tempted to anoint life. Anointing life would be very, very tempting. Did we miss anything important? No, for explosive trap, this is sort of fine. One thing you can do is you can Thread of Hope here. With Thread of Hope here, you hit a bunch of these really nice nodes like Blast Cascade, and you can cut a lot of points. It used to be even better. It used to hit like everything in here, but they moved the tree slightly, now it isn't quite as good. But that opens up a lot of options. Explosive Trap is the easiest in terms of routing because it's, as a base skill, so strong, it doesn't really need damage nodes. The issue with Explosive Trap is it doesn't really feel good until you've got like all the level investment and helm enchants and all this other stuff. So it could happen. It could happen in SSF. It probably won't. Oh, and I would probably add these nodes on to all of them. And then if you want to like come up to Eldritch Battery, then you just like rejig your tree a little bit and you come across. You could also, instead of routing Eldritch Battery on the tree, you could run Devouring Diadem. Devouring Diadem is the Katarina helmet. The helmets have been buffed because veiled mods are stronger now. And with 0 reservation on the tree, with just a Devouring Diadem, you could do Devouring Diadem with 2 50% auras, so like Wrath Zealotry or Hatred Zealotry or whatever. 2 50% auras, Skitterbots, and an Enlighten. And that'd be really gravy. Another good aura combo, if you're trying to think of like more things to fit into your build, you've either got a bunch of reduced reservation, you just want more options, or you're doing low life stuff, is Dread Banner linked to Generosity is very strong. The only thing which is a bit about it is that it requires 2 skill gems, and I'm currently starved for skill gems because there's not really anything in here that I would like to drop. Another option would be smoothing my movement skill setup around, instead of using dash, using something like shield charge or whirling blades, which could be an option. In terms of, do you want to go one hand in shield, do you want to use 2 weapons, do you want to use a staff, do you want to use a bow? You can still make bow quiver traps work. It obviously got hit really hard. That was the usual end game for these builds. It got hit by them making most of the quiver stuff just not work for spells, and they killed Signal Fire. Signal Fire has 0 interaction with Explosive Trap anymore, which makes me very sad. A few shields which are notable is for Explosive Trap. This is really nice. Chernobogs, it gives you 25 fizz conversion. It gives you a good amount of life. It gives you some flat damage. And it gives you Enfeeble on hit, which is really strong because Explosive Trap does enough damage that you can afford to have a defensive curse on hit. And Enfeeble is a really good curse on hit to use in a evasion-based build, so it's really good natural synergy there. You could even, to be honest, shove it into like a Fire Trapper, just because. Otherwise, if you're going to use a shield, just go for a rare shield with life, spell crit, plus level of gems appropriate to what element you're doing. Otherwise, I really like Mistwall or Replica Mistwall. Mistwall, it used to be a Conqueror boss only drop, now it's just a global drop. And it gives you blocked cap or blocked spell cap if you have the replica version, if you haven't been hit recently. Well, on an evasion-based build, you don't ever get hit. So basically, the way they all work is It will roll your evasion. Let's say your evasion fails. It will roll your dodge fails. It will then roll your block. So basically, it just gives you like another buffer, another layer before you'll actually take any direct damage yourself. But yes, I will do more videos on this character. If you've got any questions, more things you'd like to hear about it, please let me know. I'm Tarke. Have a good day, and I hope you're having a wonderful league start. Bye-bye.